Hi, it's Dr. Craig Gilling, and today we want to talk about spinal degeneration, sometimes called spinal decay, or simply arthritis. What happens in the spine when a joint can become out of alignment or stuck, it begins to wear out the discs, which then compresses the disc and puts pressure on the nerves. What a subluxation simply means is the bone becomes stuck out of place. So any trauma, stress, or injury that you have in your life can cause a subluxation to occur. And if the subluxation is left uncorrected, it will begin to wear down the spine. Now this process happens in three different phases. The first phase of degeneration happens after about 10 years after a bone begins to get stuck, and simply we'll start to see some disc wear occurring and spinal curvatures begin to change. Like you see on this model here, we have a nice curvature in the spine with decent disc spacing. In the first phase of subluxation degeneration, we start to see some wearing occurring. Again, that starts after about 10 years of a joint being subluxated and can last for up to 20 years. After 20 years, we go into the second phase, which we'll see in this model. Now we start to see the actual bone spur formation, a lot more disc loss occurring as your spine is trying to wear down and fuse together. As we see in this model here, now we start to see more where the bone's getting closer to touch. We're getting a lot less disc space in there. The joints are really shifting. And what typically can happen in this phase is when we start to see a herniated disc. Once the disc begins to compress, the disc needs to go somewhere, and typically that herniates. This takes at least 20 years to occur in the spine. It will last for up to 40 years if uncorrected. And after 40 years, eventually we go into what we call the third phase of degeneration, and that's when the spine simply fuses together. These bone spurs connect, forming one vertebrae with the two, and then the damage is permanent now. On a spine, it'll look like this, where now we're not seeing really much of any disc loss. The bones become joined together, and again, this is the third phase, and this typically takes 40 years from when a joint becomes subluxated or stuck. So our goal at Gilling Chiropractic is pretty simple. Let's evaluate your spine. Let's look at x-rays to determine, are you degenerating? Because if you are, and as long as you're not in that third phase, something can be done to stabilize it and correct it. If you have any questions, please give us a call at Gilling Chiropractic at 989-748-4400. And again, the best way to tell if your spine is degenerating is through x-ray.